Instead, they just excise the lesion of the organ. Now, I want you to see the difference between excision of the stomach and excision lesion of the stomach. When I say excision stomach, what have they done? Take out the whole thing. But excision lesion of the stomach, what have they done? Taken something off of it, taken only a part. What does the word lesion mean? A bruise, an injury, an abrasion, a abnormal growth. In other words, lesion means anything that's wrong with it. If I have a scratch on the back of my hand, could that be a lesion? If I have a mole on the back of my hand, could that be a lesion? Yeah, so lesion is really kind of a catch-all word, meaning anything that's there that shouldn't be there. All right, so I'm going to look up in my alphabetic, in the procedure index, I want to look up excision stomach and see what happens. So I literally go to the alphabet for the back in the back of the book, and I find excision stomach. Tells me to do something. What's it tell me to do? Okay, what's it say when you get this to excision stomach?
It says stomach and it says EC. That's all it says.
Are you sure you're under excision stomach? Look at the top of that column.
It says excisions. I came down the stomach. Yes, ma'am.
There are no other instructions there?
What you would say that?
I'm going to tell you the truth. Why come out I don't see
Because you ain't been long. I got to go to the back of the book. Go to the right there to the procedure.
Oh, procedures. Oh.
When you go to excision of stomach, it tells you to see gastrectomy, the implication being that the excision of stomach is taking out the whole thing, right? Okay, so what is the code that you find when you look up gastrectomy? Four, 3, 8, 9. All right, now I want you to go back and look up excision lesion. Just find excision lesion and don't do anything else. Very first lesion. What's the very first thing you see listed under excision lesion? Abdominal wall. Well, keep on coming down. Excision lesion. You have the A's, you have the B's, you have the C's, D's, E's. Are you following along? Column after column of nothing but excision lesions. What is the last entry for excision lesion?
Excision, the last excision of the vulva.
Excision lesion of vulva. You have got, at least portions of 5 columns with nothing but excision lesions. Is that right? Let me show you, because we're going to mark in your book so you don't have a problem with this.
They'll find right on.
So excision here. And it goes all the way through excision, lesion, go right there. So from there up and from there down, these are lesions, lesions, lesions. Now you know what I would do? I'll put things right in the middle of my page so that when I'm looking them up, I see these words and I think, why are they there? Because all of this is excision lesion. Now, Dorothy, you got it?
Yes, and it got that confused. Like, why is this the ending of excision? That word right there when I had vocal somewhere else.
But you see, you've gone back to excision uterus.
Okay.
Look at the top of the column. Excision lesion starts right here. And it goes all the way over here to excision vulva, right here. And I'm going to do for you what I just did for Gwendolyn, lesion. And by writing it in the middle of your column, as you look these things up, hopefully you'll recognize that that's excision lesion. All right, now having done that, let's take a look now. Go to where lesion is, excision lesion, the very first place it's listed. And I want to know what the code is of excision lacrimal gland. I didn't say lesion of, I said excision lacrimal gland. What is it? 0920. Okay. All right, maybe this had a change, but anyway. Now, notice that lacrimal alphabetically falls just before lesion, doesn't it? Now I want you to find for me the code for excision. I've got to mark my book like I just had you all mark yours. Hold on. Of ligament. And what code do you find? Or what does it tell you to do?
See also excision. Well, besides it's a joint, but it says see also excision.
All right. Now, does lesion alphabetically fall between lacrimal and ligament?
Yep.
Yeah, it does. So this is one of those situations where right in the middle of all the excisions, you've got excision lesion, and it takes up about 4 or 5 columns. But do you see how if you're not careful, your eyes are going to go from excision of an organ over to the place where it says excision lesion of an organ.
Yep.
Dorothy, you see what? Well,
Yes, ma'am.
all right. So that's why. I mean, I'm going to take mine and I'm drawing all kinds of lines so I know that that's the excision lesion of. So when I look it up, I immediately know that I'm in excision lesion of and I'm not excision of an organ. All right, now having said that, a minute ago you looked up excision of stomach. It took you to gastrectomy. You gave me a 43.89. Now I want you to give me the code for excision lesion of stomach. And let's see if it's the same code.
43.42.
43.42, different code. Now let's look those codes up and let's see what the difference is. So 43.89 is an other partial gastrectomy. Well, okay, we did a gastrectomy. And 43.42 is a local excision of other lesion or tissue of stomach. Do you see the difference in those two? One is you took out the whole thing. The other is you took out only what was wrong of the whole thing. Which one is probably the lesser procedure? Taking out the part is. Taking out the part. So is it real important to show which one you actually did, or could you just say, oh, I'll take out the stomach and let it go?
No, it's important.
It's important, really important. But it's confusing when you look in the book. If your eye is looking for stomach, you're very likely to go to excision lesion of stomach instead of turning to excision stomach. So that's one of those things you just have to watch really